Hello and welcome everyone to The Wall. My name is Annique Jansen. I'm an organizational anthropologist, and today I will be giving a presentation about blockchain technology, Marxism and change. So what I think is very important is to look at this from an activist anthropological lens, because I think we should have knowledge for everyone. Knowledge should be available for everyone. This will lead to more understanding and a better coexistence. A little bit about the content. First, I'm going to talk about the blockchain. I'm not going to go very deep into it because I'm not an expert. I'm an anthropologist. I will give an example. I will compare money to cryptocurrencies. Then I will move on to Marxism and class division, a little bit about change, and I will end with why this is anthropology. So, first, I think it is important to understand that we live in a very uncertain world. We have a growing inequality, we have a lot of corruption in many countries, and there is a need of third parties. Now, third parties are institutions like, for instance, a bank to guarantee many things. But they are very slow, they're expensive. Like, for instance, a bank. If you would need to have a transaction, your transaction goes first to the bank and then it will go to the receiver. But this has a lot of problems. Problems with privacy, problems with security. Anything that is centralized is very easy to hack. And the payment and settlement are not instant. But very luckily, in a time of crisis, we all have the potential to morph up to a new level and do things that we never thought was possible. So first, about the blockchain. What is it and how does it work? A blockchain is the digital ledger software underlying, amongst other, cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, for the secure transfer of money, assets, information via the internet and without needing of a third party. Now, this part is very important. Let me explain all the three aspects a little bit deeper. Okay, so I will start by explaining what a ledger is. Very simply explained, a ledger is a database which is managed independently. It offers secure transfer of information and money via the internet. And which is very important is that there is no need of a third-party intermediary, which means it's very fast and direct. So as you all can imagine, the blockchain consists of a chain with blocks. And these blocks, they have three important parts. So first of all, it's the data. And this is the sender, data, the information about the sender, information about the receiver, and the transaction itself. Then is the hash of the block, which is like the fingerprint of the block. It's the unique code that identifies the specific block. And it also contains, and this is very interesting, it also contains the hash of the previous block. And this is this identifies the place in the chain. So this means that if you would have to hack one block, you would have to hack all the blocks because the codes are connected. Now, I will give you an example, and I will compare money to cryptocurrencies. So first, money is government controlled. It is fairly stable and it has various functions. For instance, it's a storage of value, it's a medium of exchange, and it's a unit of account, which means that prices are expressed in that kind of currency. It is fetishized according to Marx, so because the value is different than the exchange value is different than the use value. So for instance, if you imagine a $5 bill or a €5 bill and a €500 bill, the use value, I mean, they kind of look the same, the paper is the same, but it's a very big difference when you want to pay with them. Also, its materiality is fetishized. In an article of Walker, he describes the way that the bill itself has value in Congo, because if you would have a ripped bill or a very old-looking bill, it would not be worth as much as a new bill. Now, in cryptocurrencies, it is decentralized, it's distributed, so it's not government controlled, and it is not widely accepted. But still, there is a new village, well, it's not a new village, but a village in Australia called Agnes Water, and it's one of the first villages that is accepting cryptocurrencies as a method of payment. Now, the price is a measure of its value, and this means that it's very unstable compared to fiat. There is a high fluctuation, which means it's very risky to at this moment to invest in cryptocurrencies, but it is also very profitable for many people. It is also being fetishized. Diwakar, he calls it the the god of the communities, because there is no materiality at all. Now, I will continue by explaining a little bit about Marxism and class division. So class division, according to Marx, is that the working class is controlled by capitalists. But there are often ruptures, and these ruptures, they can be seen as opportunities for the working class. For instance, the financial crisis in 2008. 2 months after only, Satoshi Nakamoto, he published this paper where he explained how the blockchain would work, and so this was seen as a rupture which changed the whole system. So I'm thinking now, can this rupture offer opportunities to change the terms of class division? Now let's take a look at the aspects of change. There are a lot of things blockchain can solve. For instance, the entitlement of property, secure sharing economy, and lower the cost on transaction time of remittances. This is a very important thing, because if people would have to send money by, for instance, Western Union, it would cost a lot of money, and it would also be a very long time before the receiver gets the money. It would improve privacy, and it would protect creators of value. So property can be seen as a legitimatized claim to something of value sanctioned by some form of political authority. It's very important to know that these claims can be undermined by corruption. On the market level, this reduces growth because investors don't feel like investing in countries which are corrupt. They will have extra costs, and they will be forced into certain movements that they might not want to do. Remittances is money sent back from people working abroad back to their families, and this has a huge impact. In 2018, the amount of remittances was in total $689 billion. This has an enormous impact on people's lives. It allows some family members to go to university while they would otherwise never have the opportunity to go. You can also look at the TED Talk of Dilip Ratha. He explains it very nicely, and it's very interesting to see. Now, the last part I'm going to explain is about democratizing knowledge. Authors and artists, they can use the blockchain as a platform of information sharing. I saw somewhere an example where an artist would put her songs on the blockchain, on some kind of blockchain platform, and she would make it free to listen to it. But if you wanted to use, for instance, her song as a soundtrack for a movie, you would have to pay. And in this way, the money goes directly from the buyer to the artist, and there's no agency or something that takes a big share of the money. Also, this can improve knowledge of the general public, because if you look at professors, they send all their articles or most of their articles to big publishing companies, and they will ask money for it. So it's very difficult for some people to buy all these articles to learn and to read and to learn. Okay, now, why is this anthropology, and can we call this an anthropology of change? Anthropology basically studies people bottom up, and the changes that we've seen, they affect people's life. Changes in people's lives, if people think differently, they will also affect policy, because they will think differently, so they will vote differently, for instance. Now, there are a few advantages of ethnographic research. You're studying with people, you're trying to get really the inside of the people, the way they think, the way they feel, the way they see, and this is in contrast to an ethic perspective. An ethic perspective where people are studied from an outsider's perspective. Now, what is important about ethnographic research is that it offers a very holistic and thick description. It goes into the deep layers of the people's behavior, the way they think, and what the assumptions are that underlay all these behaviors that are visual. What I think is very important, and the reason why I'm making this presentation, is that I would like to have people using this knowledge, for instance, to improve the world or to improve themselves. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a very nice day.